Hello, everyone. I'm honored to be closing out the presentations for this Singer Symposium. It's been wonderful. I want to thank the presenters before me. I've taken so many notes. It's a little intimidating, but I'm going to see if I can give you some new perspectives or some different perspectives on some of the things that we've heard. I have a class that I do called Vocal Technique in a Non-Technical Way. And over the years in teaching, I've become more big picture. I'm not much for details. So I'm going to give you, there's a whole list of what I call vocal truths. And I'm going to list a few of them. There's one that I believe that singing is probably the most primitive method of human expression. I don't know if I read that or saw it, or I believe it. I believe that that we all know how to sing. Nobody needs to learn how to sing. We need to remember how to sing, and we need to allow ourselves to sing. By the way, these are in no particular order. I have two guiding principles in great singing. One is freedom of sound and real words. So under freedom of sound, there's hundreds of ways to get that. And under real words, there's more understanding. There's no violence or pain or discomfort or effort in great singing. Singing is a joyful, spontaneous flow of free communication. Sometimes when we're teaching singing or watching people sing, we see so much trying to sing. And that's the last thing that we want to be doing, is trying to sing. We need to allow ourselves to sing. There was some talk about focus, how to focus the voice. And I believe that focus is achieved naturally, organically, when the words are real, which includes things like enunciation, diction, but mostly communication. For instance, if you were to sing, if I'm just going to let it kind of flop out. Once upon a time, a girl with moonlight in her eyes. All right, so now I just kind of let it freely come out, but now I'm going to communicate clearer. Once upon a time, a girl with moonlight in her eyes. Now, all I did was communicate clearer, but I am sure that that was a more focused sound. So there was no muscling involved. The best breathing practices cannot overcome a gripped throat. That was my problem when I was 18 years old, and I went to college trying to learn how to fix my throat. It was kind of like I was singing a little Italian song in my juries, and it was Tu lo sai quanto t'amai. No, it was just horrible. And I absolutely did not know how to fix that. And after 3 semesters and going through 4 voice teachers, they didn't help me. So a little later about how I was helped. Another one of my great beliefs is there should be an ever expanding feeling in the ribs, the posture, the throat, the head, always this feeling of expanding. Now, these are the things that these beliefs that I have are these sayings. They help me to create exercises for my students. More space must be made to go from lower notes to higher notes. For instance, all right, so you see that I purposefully opened more. Now, I've been told by great teachers and great coaches that this is incorrect. That there should be, that you shouldn't be opening like that, that you should, have a kind of a set place. And sometimes I say to my students, well, do you want to do what's right, or do you want to do what works? I'm sure that we can do both. Let's find a way to do both. And that was where where I named my non-technical way of teaching La cosa que funciona, which means the thing that works. And so I'm always trying to find the thing that works. And by the way, all of the truths, all the vocal truths, most of them have an equal and opposite truth that could be argued. So we're always looking to do the one that works. I believe that, here's another one that one should always be able to soften any loud held note, or you're not really singing, you're yelling. Not that an in tune, passionate yell isn't very exciting. We can all enjoy that. But for the purity of how I was trained, you had to be able to diminuendo from a forte. All tones should have their genesis in softness, pianissimo. The way that my teacher who fixed my voice, who helped me get out of that nice tight, I remember the day that I met him, and I remember he said all tones should start through a falsetto, and he did. That was the very moment that changed my life, that changed I now had purpose. I wanted to go tell everybody about that. I wanted to tell everybody. And so from that time to now, I've never been without a voice student. Here's another. The word ah is better in every way than the vowel ah. And that brings us to singing in the right brain. When you sing a word, it sounds better than singing a perfect vowel sound or a syllable. Now, here's one that I know that I'm going to hear people literally screaming at me through, but here goes. I almost hesitate to say this. The formation of all vowels should be initiated in the pit of the throat below the tension line. Now, this is an imaginary feeling, but if you think A-I-O-U, I'm imagining it right here at my finger. A-I-O-U, and I'm not going A-I-O-U. I'm not trying to form everything here. That's got to be free for communication, for allowing yourself to communicate. I usually get a lot of pushback on that. I believe that there are two sides of the voice, the dark side, the bright side. And when they are balanced, achieving the chiaroscuro, the dark bright, then the connection to the bellows, the breathing, is most maximized. Now, all of these things are the way that I shape my lessons, my coaching, my teaching. But there's something else that it's larger than the actual lessons, and that is the relationships and the artistry that you're building through relationships. When someone comes to you, or you go to someone with your voice, that's a very personal thing. And as a teacher, if someone comes to you with their with their voice. That is a beautiful thing that you have to cherish and make sure that you don't do anything wrong for that. And so I don't believe in right ways. I believe in the way that works, in the way that empowers, the way that gives confidence. Now, I've been never without a voice student or 10 for the last 48 years. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, man, look at the head of hair on that old guy. I hope there was laughter. So there was a little girl by the name of Molly, who I taught from, she was 8 years old. I taught her till she was 12. And she sought me out a decade later. And she told me that what she had gained in her lessons gave her the confidence to audition for and become the star of a long-running children's TV show called Aqua Kids. And she did that show for probably 10 years. There was a man in his 50s who came to me. His name was Richard. His production was absolutely painful. It was kind of like, it was kind of like mine was when I was 18. And I said, go. And he went, and I went, and we did that for about 3 weeks, 3 lessons or so. I thought he'll never come back, but he studied with me for about 6 years, and he wound up being a baritone soloist in his church and another choral organization in his 60s. So that was another wonderful, long time relationship. Of course, my chorus, the Harbor City Music Company, what an incredible 30-year journey that has been in relationships and artistry. And as I've said, I'm the big picture guy, and my wonderful music team is the ones who do the details, thank heavens. Then there's a quartet. These lovely ladies, my good friends, Luster, who are all in the chorus, and they have studied with me and been coached by me. The relationship and the artistry that we have made, this is the thing that makes it amazing. And there's a young man who I helped to get into the Baltimore Opera. I taught him an aria. I guess basically I force-fed him the aria, and it was through his time in the Baltimore Opera, directly related to now he has his own television program. These are things that makes life, it changes lives. This is what we do when you go to a teacher with art and you're learning. This is a life changing. My own experience was when I went to my teacher after I stumbled across him. Really, I went to his house, and he listened to me sing, and he gave me no encouragement whatsoever. He told me my production was horrible and I wouldn't be singing much longer. I asked him to explain, and he gave me about a 15-minute voice lesson, and I learned more in those 15 minutes that I had learned in 3 semesters. And it absolutely changed everything. I had no interest in classical music, and so I find myself learning. He was teaching me to be a baritone recitalist. So he taught me the chansons of Debussy and Fauré, and he taught me Lieder of Schumann and Schubert. And so the sound that I was making, that tu lo sai quanto t'amai, that became something like, let me find I'll get back to that. Oh, here we are. I had to find my notes. So here we are. Tu lo sai. Okay, so then I'm singing Bella siccome un angelo in terra pellegrino. Now, this is nothing that I even looked to do. It was what became of that artistic relationship that we had. After studying with him for 5 years, after hardly being able to sing, he encouraged me to go for a contest, the Baltimore Opera Young Singers Contest, where I was in the contest. I didn't win or place, but they offered me a contract for 2 years, which turned into 15 years. And so I was able to sing with the Baltimore Opera, with the Baltimore Symphony Orchestra playing over 60 operas, 250 performances over the next 15 years. It was incredible. This would not have happened. It wouldn't have happened without a life-changing moment of a teacher giving me exactly that, something I'd never heard before. No one had ever said everything has got to come through a falsetto. And I was blown away by it. I was like, wow. So for the last 48 years, I've been trying to even find better and better ways to reach people. And there's many stories more, of course, in all of those years. But it's about the art. It's about the songs. It's about the music that I learned. Because really, we learn to sing through learning songs. We learn to sing through learning repertoire. And I've learned repertoire that I was never interested in, but now I love. And I've done things that I never thought I would do. Was the last thing that I want to leave with you is there's a great, probably the greatest Metropolitan Opera bass in the last 2 centuries. He's been at the Met for 50 years. His name is James Morris. He was a real hero of mine. And I actually did get some supporting roles when I was in the Baltimore Opera. And I actually sang a scene with him in the opera Faust. And it was, I'm still amazed by that, the fact that I had that experience. So that's my message, really, is that embrace the relationships and the art, the knowledge, the muscles, and all that. That is, we all feel it differently. And so we all have to embrace it differently.
That's amazing advice, Michael. And your career is just unbelievable. And it's even more impressive how it continues to, you continue to top yourself.
Thank you.
Do you think you might be willing to take a few questions?
Yes, I could take questions.
Okay, sounds good. How about, I know there are times that warm-ups can be boring for some people. Too short or too long can cause issues. Any exciting warm-ups out there, including that you like to do?
I don't like to do warm-ups at all. I am bored by my own stuff. I have a team of people who do warm-ups, and they make it way more exciting than I can. I approach warm-ups as learning to skill building. And so a warm-up to me would just be, here, let's everybody go from a low note to a high note, and make sure that you make more space someplace. And just do that and make sure, because that's a skill. And if you can remember to do that, you're going to have a whole lot easier time, finding high notes.
Thank you. And Gretchen asks, everything should start with a falsetto. How does that translate to women?
Well, that was his terminology, but I believe the way it relates to women is exactly how what Deborah Lynn was teaching about, that nice high suspended sound, that all sounds should come from above.
Right, that makes a lot of sense. And someone asked, Michael, can we assume that sustainable is an essential part of, quote, works?
That sustainable. I'm not sure I understand that.
I don't know. We'll ask Val Klaus to put something in the chat to clarify that. In the meantime, Anne asks, how do you learn to lip trill?
How do you, oh, well, my wife can't lip trill. So she does this. And that helps. If you can't do it, yeah. But there's other things that you can do. You can do tongue. But yeah, this kind of works for her.
That makes sense. And let's see. Nope, I guess I don't see a clarification in the chat, but Vanessa, you can tell me if it comes in there. So warm-ups. Oh, just somebody is commenting about how they just tried the pit below throat tip, and it was absolutely the best, she's saying.
There you go. Now, I did not make that up. I did learn that from a very, very wonderful teacher. He's the his name is Todd Duncan. He is the original Porgy in Gershwin's Porgy and Bess, and I was blessed to work with him for 3 years. And he insisted on that and demonstrated many, many times, and it's a very freeing feeling.
Val has clarified that in the talk about doing what works, no mention of sustainable, meaning doing what's sustainable.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that means to be able to sustain a tone or to how to keep.
It sounds to me like it's retention related, to keep the skill.
Oh, okay. So with all skills, you have to do them until they're habit. You know, here is the exercise. Now do this as many times as it takes until that is habit. And what you do by habit is technique. So how many repetitions, I guess.
Right, exactly. And a couple people are commenting about how you always bring them to tears. And I think that was in a good way, Michael.
Well, that's part of getting older, raising kids and grandkids and great grandkids. Tears are easy to come by.
And one quick question before we part, any tips for memorizing music, like learning the song until it's second nature?
Again, that is, you have to know what your repetition amount is. Some people can get it after 1 or 2 times. Some people it takes 10, some people it takes 50. So it's your own. And the other thing would be it has to be a meaningful thing. Figure out what about it is in the words or the feelings that is meaningful, and then try to get that into your right brain. Okay, because just memorization is a left brain process, and communication is a right brain process. And the communication right brain always works better. It just makes everything work better.
Thank you, Michael. You've been amazing. And especially you've had a busy teaching weekend this weekend. You were over in Region 15 and teaching coming here. So thank you. And we'll see you at the roundtable.
Thank you.